All right, babes, I tried my best to steer clear of talking about Gypsy's pregnancy. Let's talk about it. Gypsy is supposedly 8 months pregnant, but the more we see her, the more people are questioning whether that's actually the case. It's her recent media tour that has everyone buzzing, and honestly, I get why they're skeptical. I mean, when you're 8 months pregnant, it should be obvious, right? But if you look at her, there's just no sign. Physically, she doesn't seem pregnant at all. And don't even get me started on the shape of her belly. In one video, it literally looks like her stomach is square, almost like she stuffed a book under her clothes. People are seriously wondering what's going on. Now let's break down her most recent public appearances. First up, there was that court appearance where people couldn't help but notice how she was moving. Everyone in the comments was like, "Did you see how fast she was flying up those stairs?" And I mean, does that look like someone who's 8 months pregnant? When a woman is that far along, there's usually some kind of discomfort or struggle. But Gypsy was moving like she had no bump at all.
Just want a couple of pictures. If you give us a couple of pictures, that's good.
Then there was that interview she did ahead of her book signing. Now, the way she was sitting and moving around, people were seriously asking, how is she so comfortable being 8 months pregnant? Again, it just didn't add up.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard is in New Orleans for a book signing of her new memoir, My Time to Stand. She sat down with the Times-Picayune to discuss the writing process and what life looks like as she prepares to welcome her first daughter into the world.
Very different from any of the documentaries or anything because in documentaries you have a production company that controls the questions being asked, what they decide to put in the documentary, whereas my memoir is literally my voice and I get to choose what I talk about, how in depth I want to go with it, and be very vulnerable and share my truth. And it's the one thing, like, my mom's side of the family never approved of a lot of the documentaries or the TV shows being made. However, they always were supportive of me writing a book. You don't get to pick and choose what stories become viral or well-known.
When we asked her what she was most excited for in motherhood, she said she's looking forward to watching her daughter grow.
I feel like in a sense it's healing the inner child within me, while also giving her a happy life.
But preparing for a baby isn't always easy as a celebrity.
Being in the public eye makes it a lot more challenging, so I've had to think of things in order to protect her. So I made it very clear that I don't want her to be in the media. I won't be sharing pictures with her on the internet, or of her on the internet once she's born. I won't be, exposing her to that life because it is a life of scrutiny.
Before all of this, there was also this picture she posted with a guy who apparently worked on her book. When the guy shared the photo on Facebook, someone asked him if she looked like she was 8 months pregnant. And his response? He said, no, she didn't look 8 months pregnant. Now that comment is starting to make sense because based on her recent appearances, she doesn't really look pregnant at all. Now, I know some of y'all might be thinking, maybe she's just one of those rare women who hides a pregnancy well. Come on, we've all seen those pregnancy glow-ups where the belly is impossible to ignore by the 3rd trimester. So why does Gypsy look like she's barely even showing at 8 months? There's no way you can tell me that's normal for someone so far along. Let's start with the court appearance, where she was spotted flying up those stairs like there was no pregnancy at all. I mean, when you're 8 months pregnant, shouldn't every step be a little harder? Shouldn't you feel some discomfort? But Gypsy looked like she was in full speed mode, like she was just strolling through the day. people were quick to comment, "Did you see that? She's supposed to be 8 months pregnant, but she's moving like she's got nothing to carry." And that's what everyone's been saying. It doesn't look like she's even pregnant. Then there's the interview she did before her book signing, where once again, the way she was sitting and moving around made people pause. It's not just the comfort level, it's the ease with which she was talking, sitting, and gesturing. For someone who's supposed to be in the final stretch of pregnancy, there should be more signs of struggle, right? But instead, she's sitting like someone who's just out for a casual chat. It's definitely raised eyebrows. And let's not forget about the picture she posted with the guy she worked with. When he shared it, someone asked him if she looked like she was 8 months pregnant, and his reply was simply, no. This guy's words are coming back to haunt her now, because it's making people believe maybe she's already given birth, or worse, maybe she was never pregnant to begin with. The more we see these little slip-ups, the more people are starting to wonder if there's more to this than meets the eye. But let's talk about that video promoting her book, where her belly looks square. This is probably one of the most talked about clips, and it's not hard to see why. The shape of her belly just doesn't look right. It's almost too flat, and it definitely doesn't resemble the typical round shape of a late-stage pregnancy. Now, I know that every pregnancy is different, but when you're supposed to be 8 months along and you're sporting a belly that looks more like a bookcase than a baby bump, it definitely raises some serious questions.
Hey everybody, so this is day 2 after my memoir, My Time to Stand, has been released to bookstores and wherever books are sold. I am so proud to be holding this book right now. And whoever has read it already, I hope that you receive the message. This is not a true crime book. This is a book about survival and hardship and overcoming massive amounts of trauma. To say that this book is just a book is not, it's very, very much misrepresented. This is not a book. This is my entire life in pages. When I started working on this book with Melissa Moore and Michelle Matrashani, 2 amazing women, amazing writers, I had such a wonderful time working with them, brainstorming, and it's really a talent to be able to bring the emotions of what a trauma survivor has to go through and overcome and push past into words. That is incredibly difficult because no one can know the emotions felt by a victim unless you are in that situation or have been there. And so for us to brainstorm together and kind of figure out how do we want to put this all together, how do we want to framework this, is amazing. And I think we did an amazing job. The things that I talk about in this book are things that I don't get asked in interviews. I don't get asked how scared I was in certain situations. I don't get asked why didn't I just run away? I don't get asked that stuff. And I think even if I told them why, they wouldn't really understand. So it's extremely important to put into words for readers when they are reading my story and when my story is told. The reasons, the emotions, the restrictions put on me and put on victims. So I think that this book is ultimately the thing that I needed to have happened in my life, because I held on to that grief and that pain for so long. And this is a healing book. This is about letting go of my past and finally pushing towards my future.
People have even started digging through her old posts, trying to find any other clues that might give us some answers. And the more they dig, the more they're pointing out inconsistencies, like how her bump seems to disappear in some pictures and then reappear in others. Is it just bad camera angles, or are we looking at a bigger PR stunt than we thought? Then there's the interview she did right before her book signing. Watch how she's sitting, how she's moving, the ease with which she shifts positions and gestures. For someone in their final trimester, it's almost too effortless. Usually you'd expect a bit of discomfort, maybe some back support, some slow movements, something. But Gypsy looked like she could have been chilling in her living room, no bump weighing her down. Again, the skeptics came out in full force. She's not acting like someone who's 8 months pregnant. And honestly, they might be onto something. Now let's talk about the photo with the guy she worked with on her book. It seemed innocent enough, until someone asked him point blank if Gypsy looked pregnant. His response? No, she didn't look 8 months pregnant. That single comment sparked a firestorm. At first people thought, oh, maybe she's just carrying small. But now with all the recent appearances, that statement feels like a huge slip-up. Could it be that Gypsy's PR team is scrambling to keep up this narrative? Is this pregnancy even real? Or is there something else we're missing here? And we have to talk about that book promo video, the one where Gypsy's belly looks downright square. Not round, not soft, just flat and rectangular. I mean, girl, are we looking at a baby bump or a strategically placed book? People have been zooming in, rewinding, analyzing every angle, and I can't blame them. When you're 8 months pregnant, that belly should be unmistakable. Instead, hers looked stiff, awkward, and honestly, suspicious. It's like she stuffed a box under her shirt and thought no one would notice. But this is the internet, babe. The internet always notices. What's really tripping people up is the lack of consistency in Gypsy's physical appearance. In one post, she looks completely normal, like there's no bump at all, and then in another, her belly is suddenly more prominent. Is it just bad angles, or is there something more deliberate going on here? Fans have been digging through old photos, looking for inconsistencies, and it's not hard to see why they're starting to question everything. If you look at other celebrities who've been pregnant in the spotlight, you can see the transformation happening over time. Gypsy, though, doesn't seem to have had that same shift. No real pregnancy glow, no obvious body changes. It's almost as if her pregnancy never fully materialized. And then, of course, there's that video with the square belly. People have been rewatching it over and over again, and no matter how many times they pause it, it just doesn't look right. The shape of her belly is too flat, too off. It's hard to believe that someone 8 months pregnant could have a bump that flat, almost as if there's something under her shirt. But it doesn't make sense that she wouldn't expect people to notice. Now, let's be real. We all know how social media works. People love a good mystery, and Gypsy's pregnancy, or lack thereof, has definitely given us plenty to talk about. Some people are defending her, saying that maybe she's just one of those women who carries differently. But with so many inconsistencies and odd moments, it's hard not to question what's really going on. Also, let's talk about how her belly looked in that book promo video. I don't know about you, but when I saw that video, I had to rewind and look at it again. That belly looked totally off. It didn't look round or soft like it should. It looked flat, almost like a rectangle. People have been speculating that it might be a stuffed book or something else that's been strategically placed under her shirt, and the fact that it was so obvious makes me wonder if Gypsy didn't expect anyone to notice. She realized that the man who built the house next to theirs wasn't bracing her properly, and so her hit went up. She wrote poetry in the poll in less than 6 months. But let's be real, the internet never forgets. People are now piecing together the clues, looking at past interviews, pictures, and even her behavior on social media. There's a pattern forming, and it's one that makes it look like this whole pregnancy narrative is questionable at best. The thing that's sticking out to me the most, the lack of any real physical changes. If you look back at other celebrities who've been in the spotlight while pregnant, you can see the clear transformation in their body. But Gypsy's never really had that moment, and that's making fans suspicious. And then, of course, there's the video she posted promoting her book, where once again her belly looks suspiciously square if you watch closely. It just doesn't seem to add up. So, what do you all think? Is there more to this pregnancy than we're being told? Or is it all just one big mystery? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates because this story isn't going anywhere anytime soon.